Hey there, thanks so much for joining me today. This is Laura Lynn with KeepInkingUp.com. I'm an independent demonstrator for Stampin' Up! In San Antonio, Texas. And I would love to say that I'm a super organized person who has a stash of ready-made cards to send out whenever an occasion arises for my friends and family. But sadly, I am not quite that organized, and so I tend to be putting together cards at the very last minute, which adds a little bit of stress to my life. But in some ways, I kind of like that because that way I am making the card personalized for that particular person for that specific occasion, which is what I like to do. But it does, like I say, add a little bit of stress. So I started doing something during this past year that has helped me quite a bit, so I thought since it has helped me, it might help someone else, so I wanted to share it in today's video. So what I've been doing is maybe once every 2 or 3 months, I purchase packages of our thick Whisper White or Very Vanilla cardstock. I also occasionally, maybe every 5 or 6 months, I purchase our packs of assorted cardstock in the color families to make card bases as well. However, I do tend to prefer to use the Whisper White or the Very Vanilla cardstock for card bases. That way you can write easily on the inside of the cards. So as soon as I receive my cardstock from the UPS man, I divide the packages in half, and for the first, I'm going to pull in my Simply Scored scoring board. For the first half of the cardstock, I'm going to put my paper in my scoreboard with the 8.5 side at the top, and I'm going to score in half at 4 1/4. And I will do that for the entire half a package of that cardstock. So I'll put that aside to a stack, and then I'll start on the second stack, the other half of the cardstock, and I'll put the 11-inch side at the top this time, and I'll score it in half at 5 1/2. And I'll do that for the entire half package of that particular color. Once I have all of my paper scored, whichever paper I have, whether it's the Very Vanilla, Whisper White, or the color cardstock, then I'm going to start cutting. So on all of the sheets that have been scored in half at 5 1/2, I'm going to cut in the opposite direction in half at 4 1/4. So I'm going to use my Stampin' Trimmer, and I'm going to cut into 2 card bases. Now what I want you to notice is for every 2 card bases, I've scored once and I've cut once. So I find that this particular process is very efficient, which is why I wanted to share it with you. So then I will do that for that entire stack of paper that I have scored in that manner, and then I'll take the other half of the packages or the other half that I've scored the other way that has been scored at 4 1/4, and I'm going to cut it in half in the opposite direction at 5 1/2. And then I'll have the 2 card bases in that way. And like I said, I'll do that for the entire set of cardstock that I have on hand and purchased. So I'll do all the scoring first, then I'll do all of the cutting, and now I'm going to burnish on all the score lines to create my card bases. So I'm going to go ahead and just use my bone folder and create a nice crisp crease on the fold, putting together all of these card bases. And like I said, I'll do that. I do it in assembly style, so like I said, I do all of the scoring first, then the cutting, and then the burnishing. And then once I've done that, then I'm going to pull in my container. I don't know if you can see this, I know it's rather close, but I have a container with all of my card bases and card layers cut, and I just simply put those card bases in that container. That way, whenever I am ready to make a card, I go to this container and I pick out a card base, and then I pick out some layers, and I get to going on my card. Now, when I trim my layers, these smaller layers, these are 3 3/4 by 5, or 4 by 5 1/4. I save all of my strips. I don't know if you can see that. It's really hard to see, but I save all the strips from all that trimming because these are great for little sentiment strips. So I keep all of. So my container has sentiment strips, it has card layers, and then it has card bases. And you can see I have quite a few of the colors as well as the white, Whisper White, and the Very Vanilla. So I hope you found that helpful. It is, to me, it's in a very efficient way of getting a jump start on your card making needs. So Thank you again so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye-bye.